Hey y'all, welcome to the channel if you're new, or welcome back if you're returning. Today's video is going to be talking about preparing for possibly the hardest and darkest times. So let's get right into this video. The first thing that I want to discuss is figuring out where you're short at. Is there somewhere in your preps that you're lacking? Like if it's your water, is it a way to heat your home? Is it extra clothing that you may need? Go through your preps and figure out what it is that you need to be paying extra attention to, especially over the next few days and the next few weeks, and really concentrate on that. If it's your water, and I'm bringing water to the forefront just because that's one of the most important things. You can't survive that long without water. You just can't. You can go longer without food than water, and I'm sure you've heard this before. And I just want to dive into water just for a quick second, probably like a minute or so, and that's about it. And just give you guys some ideas and just, get your brain kind of moving and working in this area. You have to have plenty of drinking water, whether that's, the gallon water jugs, if that's water bottles. If it's something that you can do and you're able to afford it and it's just feasible right now, make sure you are checking into a water purification system. Also, when it comes to water, if you're storing the water like the gallon ones that look more similar to a milk jug, make sure you're checking those, because the seams of those do have the tendency to kind of crack and buckle, and that could cause just a major issue. You don't want that. Also, you want to check into like your local area. Make sure you know your local areas, if there's any creeks or rivers or waterfalls that you can utilize in the event of, an emergency and you don't have access to water, or, in case you go through all your water in your home. And I will say I'm focusing on water, like waterfalls and running streams and creeks more so. I'm sure you can use ponds. That just wouldn't be at the forefront of my mind just because the water is more stagnant. So I was always taught to even fish, like back home, we're fishing in running water. We never fished in ponds and things like that. Now, if, push came to shove and that was the only source that you had, then go for it. So make sure you're checking in like the Sawyer straws, the Life straws, and again, other ways that you can filter this water. Water purification tabs is something else that you want to look into. There's something called a water bob, which is a huge, big old bag. Basically, you can put it in your bathtub. You can fill your bathtubs with water, but you can also fill this with water and leave it in your tub. And a water heater is another source of water. I have the standard 80-gallon water heater. So you do want to make sure that you're using like coffee filters or some kind of netting or strainer that you can use, because more than likely that is going to contain some kind of sediment. But again, your hot water definitely can be used, if push comes to shove, depending on how big it is. If you have a tankless one, I don't really know. Next, we're going to move along to clothing. So clothing, being that we're coming upon the winter months, we're coming upon the colder months. I know a lot of people are doing like a rotation of their, clothes, pulling from the closet, putting away, packing away, and just rotation. This is the time to go through your things and see what you need, see what you don't want, or maybe what you're not into anymore, or, maybe you've can't fit it anymore. Just go through that stuff. And like I said, while it's fine to donate, keep in mind that you may want to use this as a barter item at some point. So especially with kids' clothing, if anything goes south, that can be used for bartering. And we know that kids go through clothes like crazy. They outgrow them and everything like that. So don't be so quick to just, throw that clothing out. Another way to prepare is just making sure that you have everything organized. You want to make sure that you know where everything is at. If you have to label things, that's fine. Even if you want to write everything down on a sheet of paper and then store it in a safe place like a safe, that way you can refer back to it, just because, when you're prepping, you have such a variety of things. Do that. Organization is definitely your friend. You don't want to have your batteries in this area and your flashlights over here and just be so unorganized that, if your lights go out, you don't know where to grab. You're digging through this, you're going through that. You just want to be organized and have everything in order. I also wanted to talk about thrifting. So being that we're coming upon these times, there's so much unknown going on. There's a lot of things that are expensive. Pretty much everything is expensive. So another way that you can prep, and especially for things you need, especially if it's something older that you can't find in a store and maybe the quality isn't as what it used to be, is going to a thrift shop. So if you have a Goodwill around you, or a Salvation Army, or Habitat for Humanity, those stores are great to find older things, especially depending on where you live. You can really hit the jackpot whether it's a bread machine or a sewing machine, just keep that in mind. You're definitely going to pay well below the store prices. I do know a lot of those prices have gone up over the last couple of years, at Goodwill and things like that, but it's still overall cheaper than purchasing new. And like I said, if you get like the older things, they're like the quality is just there. So make sure that you're checking into some form of communication. If cell phone goes down, and we know that the towers have been going down quite a bit across carriers, AT&T, Verizon. Make sure that you have like the CB radios or some kind of walkie-talkies or some kind of way that you can communicate with family members or, friends nearby in case something happens. And like I said, you never know when you're going to wake up and something happens. And even if your phone does work, you can have two phones on the same plan with the same carrier. One may work and one may not. We actually experienced that a while back with AT&T. My husband's phone worked fine, my phone didn't work, and we had 6 lines on the plan, and some of the phones were working and some weren't. So I don't know, just like I said, make sure you have some kind of alternate forms of communication. Also, make sure you have cash on hand. I have said this before. Make sure you keep cash on hand. I know that we are so reliant on using debit cards, using Apple Pay. I'm good for that. I'm good for carrying no cards on me and just using Apple Pay. Make sure you have small bills, especially, and even change. If you have an old change jar, make sure you consider like keeping that. I almost recently thought about just turning mine into the bank just for cash, but it's like it might get to the point where I might need that. And then even if a store has an item for $5 and they don't have a way to give you change, you don't want to just hand over 20 and say keep the change. You want to be able to get it down to the cents if possible. So keep that in mind. Always have cash on you. Like I said, ones, fives, tens, $2 bills, $10 bills, and definitely like pocket change. Like I said, I know a lot of people are getting away from like cash and change and things like that, but hold on to it. I'm going to have a lot more videos like this, just breaking things down as I think of things and go through things. And as I'm going through my preps, just any kind of tips I feel would be helpful to you guys. So I hope this video helped you. If you enjoyed, please consider giving it a thumbs up, liking the video, subscribing to the channel. I would definitely love to have you here. Consider sharing it. Take care, stay safe, and I will see you guys in the next video.